The ACC SEC Challenge times have been revealed, and now we will get to see where your favorite Cards and Cats players will have to play and how long are you going to have to stay up to see if they'll pull out a victory, as well as a little bit of hellfire damnation, maybe, that one former Louisville quarterback had to endure, and then maybe one that still will have to endure some this weekend. Stick with us. We'll fill you in. What's cooking? Welcome back into another edition of Now We Can Talk Like Fans on ESPN Louisville Plus. My name is Justin Soforo, and bringing you some of the more up-to-date information for all things Cats, Cards, in the Bluegrass. Maybe even, again, we keep getting pulled by Indiana. Kurtz and Yeti, we're going to have to talk about them one day. I know it's going to have to happen, but today is not that day. Today, though, we're going to start you off with a little bit of information that has been dropped when it comes to the ACC SEC Challenge that will be happening here later in December of this year, where your favorite team may go up against somebody from the other conference. And that, of course, those times are being released now. And we're seeing Tuesday, December 2nd, lots of matchups there. But, of course, the Kentucky Wildcats will have to be the last team to play. You got to wait for the king to show up, I guess is what they would say. But Kentucky versus North Carolina at 9:30 p.m. So that's going to be a very, very late game. By the time the one that ends, especially with all those timings, the way they time out between the 7 p.m. ends, the 7:30 to the 9:30, you're going to be waiting. You'll be waiting late at night. In that post-game show, Zach Cantrell, TJ Walker, the sports talker, you'll be talking late at night that night. Louisville fans, though, on the other side, will be able to play their game first up on Wednesday, December 3rd, as they have a showdown with hated rival who just threw the L's down. I don't care what you say. It wasn't 6-7. Calipari threw an L's down. That's what happened. Calipari and Pat Kelsey will have their first matchup as the Cards take on the Razorbacks in Fayetteville at 7 p.m. on ESPN, though. So the primetime games, both of them, I guess maybe more primetime is that 9:30 one, but a prime spot being played on ESPN for both the Cards and the Cats on back-to-back days. We'll see how that one will fare, and if the ACC can do better than they did last year. The ACC's performance last year was abysmal. Hopefully Louisville does their part since they missed out on it last year, that they can maybe get a victory and make the ACC not look as dog bleep as they did. I don't know what else to say from that. Anyway, as we continue on, though, a little bit of news. Jordan Travis, haven't heard from him in a while since he played for Florida State, and they I was going to say failed to make the college football playoff, but we're not allowed in to the college football playoff by the powers that be. But one Jordan Travis had some comments as he joined the Take Two podcast, and they had a little bit of insight into what it was like being coached by one Bobby Petrino 2.0.
How I got treated there was not right. There's lines to how people should speak to you, no matter what. That wasn't the way I like to be coached. I don't like being told that I don't belong and take your ass back home and grab my face mask, rip my face mask. I don't agree with all that stuff. I was depressed. Like, I didn't know what depression was. At Louisville. I was the most depressed, bro. That's what you don't realize. We're kids that go away for home for the first time. Yasir Abdullah was my best friend. He was my roommate there. Thank God for him, because he got me through a lot.
Difficult, but not surprising to hear from the former quarterback of the Cardinals, who played sparingly and then made his transfer over to Florida State, where obviously a better situation worked out for him that year. But also frustrating for Louisville fans to hear, just even though we knew how bad it was, we knew how abysmal it was, we knew how people were being treated, we knew how the media was being treated, we knew how the fans were being treated, we knew everything that was going on with Bobby Petrino 2.0 as everything burned around them. Remember Mickey Crum laughing at Coach's face on the sidelines. We remember all the turmoil. We remember just the abysmal play. It was, we don't need to rehash it. But it's just important to actually hear the words of the people who experienced what they did under one Bobby Petrino 2.0. I guess he wasn't. Guess he didn't have enough time caddying. I guess he needed to learn a few more lessons while caddying for his daughter on the golf course. Anyway, it's hard for me personally as a Louisville fan. Bobby 1.0 are my favorite years as a football fan. that 06 season, 06-07, winning the Orange Bowl. If it weren't for Michael Bush getting hurt. So it sucks for me to once again reopen these wounds, if you will, for the failure that was Bobby 2.0 and realizing dude's the devil. dude is kind of Satan incarnate. I don't know what else to say. It's hard because as a Christian, I want to forgive him and whatever, not judge him. but geez, this guy was awful. So I don't know. You're not surprising to hear that. Moving on, though, we could talk about the upcoming game against Pittsburgh and just see how Brown made a good comment and good point. Just a quick comment from him saying that basically that Miller Moss, he hasn't had to show much in Louisville's first 3 wins, but he will against Pittsburgh if his top 2 running backs can't play. And as it stands right now, we have yet to hear if Duke Watson or Isaac Brown will. And we're going to have to see a lot better play from Miller Moss moving forward and in that game if Louisville is going to pull out a win against Pittsburgh. And I understand Andy Sweeney on the take 12 to 3 every single day, Monday through Friday on ESPN Louisville 680 105.7 and the ESPN Louisville app. Had some comments about whether basically we're laughing. They're laughing at the idea that Pittsburgh is a big game or that people may have some consternation or nerves going into Pittsburgh. You can listen to all of that on the podcast. He talked about, I believe, in like the first hour there. Personal opinion, obviously there is a little bit of the bugaboo, a little bit of the nerves and feelings that come. Pittsburgh and Virginia, for some reason, 2 teams that just constantly cause these issues for the Cardinals. They constantly, even in their worst years, they find ways to pull out these games. Louisville, far from a juggernaut this year, far from being able to overload you offensively and beat you down and just outscore you pound for pound every single play. That's where a lot of my nerves come in. A couple of years ago, we talked about the, trap game that wasn't a trap game because Pittsburgh just came. It was at home at Pittsburgh's place where they just handled the Cardinals pretty easily. But that is kind of what Pittsburgh does. Even though they were a crap team that year, remember, they were playing times where, obviously Clemson's now the crap team for this season. But there are many a time that Pittsburgh would be that team and they would come out and pull out a victory against Clemson, who would be one of the top 5 teams in the nation, pushing to win the national title, and maybe even did it during the season that I can't recall strictly off of my mind right now if it was that team, but beating them when they're at their best. So Pittsburgh always kind of does that thing a little bit. Virginia is another one that just seems to have Louisville's, I'm not going to say number because Louisville ends up pulling it out more than it does than it has previously. But at the same time, Virginia definitely seems to give Louisville more than they can handle, or as much as they can handle in those games. So it's something to keep an eye on. Miller Moss, you're just going to have to I need him to get a little bit right mentally. I need to get him a little stronger mentally when he's going out there. Maybe pick up the next few yards instead of making a stupid pass. Maybe don't throw, just these dumb decisions that he can make. Maybe overthinking or underthinking. I don't know which one it is. But I'm going to need to show a little bit more mental fortitude in this game against Pittsburgh if they're hoping to come out with a win. So that's what we have for right now. We will see how this turns out for the Cardinals coming out of this weekend. And then, of course, we will see what happens once the ACC-SEC showdown happens in December. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. If you haven't already, do me a solid favor. Smash that freaking like button. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell icon to stay notified for all of our latest videos. You can follow me at Justin Soforo on Twitter and all that stuff, X if you want to call it. And, of course, you can follow ESPN Louisville and 93.9 in the Ville on all the other associated platforms at ESPN Louisville or at 93.9 the Ville. I'll see you guys next time. Cards, Cats, Bourbon, and Bluegrass. See ya.